gentlemen, you're watching, yes, the Yankees Entertainment and Sports Network.
On the shores of Lake Michigan, we are in the second city, the Windy City. It is a gorgeous early evening, and it is time for baseball. As the Yes Network presents New York Yankees baseball tonight. It's the New York Yankees against the Chicago White Sox in Game 2 of a 4-game set from Guaranteed Rate Field in Chicago, Illinois. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Yankees baseball. Along with John Flaherty, I'm Michael Kay. The Yankees held on for a much-needed victory in the first game of this 4-game set last night. After the game, though, changes had to be made because of injury and ineffectiveness. This is what we have so far. Starlin Castro placed on the 10-day DL with that right hamstring strain. Tyler Wade, we've heard so much about him, added to the Major League roster. He's here tonight. Jonathan Holder, he's been rocky the last couple of times, optioned to AAA, and Tyler Webb, who was up before, he is recalled from AAA, so he is in the Yankee bullpen. We'll take a look at Tyler Wade, who is not in the lineup tonight, but we can see him because he's very versatile.
Well, he plays 3 of the infield positions, third, short, and second. You would consider him a shortstop. He can also play the outfield. The Yankees got to look at him in spring training, and they liked what they saw. The big thing in his game is speed. 24 stolen bases at AAA this year. He goes first to third better than anybody, but they like his bat as well, hitting well over 300. What you love about this promotion, this kid earned this. He's going to play all over the diamond, but he's got a potent left-handed bat.
Let's take a look at tonight's pitching matchup brought to you by People's United Bank N.A. Jose Quintana, we will talk about him a little bit later on. He'll get the start for the White Sox. And for the Yankees, it's Luis Severino. Last couple of starts, Severino's gotten away from his winning ways.
Yeah, and he's gotten away from really executing the slider down and away. When he has that pitch right there, he's going to get plenty of swings and misses. Fastball command has not been great. The velocity is still good, but some balls leaking out over the plate. And again, the slider just kind of rolling up there lately. Luis Severino's had a couple of rough starts. He's looking to get back on track here in Chicago.
Let's check out tonight's cold hard facts. They're brought to you by Clean, Crisp, Coors Light. Previous 5 starts, Severino 3-0. Allowed 30 hits in 35 and 2/3 innings, just 8 earned runs. But in the last 2, 0-1 in 12 innings. He's allowed 12 hits and 9 earned runs. So he's looking to get back to the previous 5. Hey, Tyler Wade, people have been looking at him for a long time. When was he going to be here? He's here, and he's talking to Meredith Marakovits next when we return right here on Yes.
Yes, I'm Meredith Morakovitz alongside Tyler Wade. Tyler, describe the feeling when Al Padrique pulled you aside yesterday and told you you're heading to the big leagues.
It was a surreal experience for me. It's always been a dream of mine to play for the New York Yankees, and when he did it, it was a whirlwind of emotions, but I'm just really excited to be here and help contribute to this team.
What have the last 24 hours been like for you since he told you?
Very exciting. I got to call my parents. That's a phone call a kid always wants to make, and like I said, I'm just excited.
What was their reaction when you delivered that news?
Well, I asked them, I was like, hey, what are you guys doing tomorrow? And they're like, oh, I'm going to work. I'm like, no, you're not. You're coming to Chicago. And they kind of like paused and they said, what are you talking about? And it kind of hit them. And then I think my mom started to cry and my dad was awesome. So I think they're just as excited as I am.
Tyler, thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Plenty more to come here on the Yes Network. When we get back, Michael Kay will be joined by John Flaherty in the booth.
By Buick, visit tristatebuick.com for great lease offers. By Heineken, open your world. And by Infinity, empower the drive. Visit your tri-state area Infinity retailer for a test drive today. Now that is the strength and conditioning guy for the whole White Sox organization. It's Jeff Torborg's son, former Yankee coach, and he used to be a former wrestler.
I can tell.
So he's having some fun with Derek Holland and Todd Frazier, who also did some wrestling moves after he hit the home run yesterday. They made believe they hit him over the head with the top of a Gatorade bucket. So having some fun for the White Sox, who are struggling right now. They take the field. So why don't we take a look at the Yankees starting lineup presented by Lexus. Jacoby Ellsbury in center field will lead off, batting second, and playing third base Chase Headley. He's been red hot of late. The right fielder is Aaron Judge. He'll hit third. Cleaning up the catcher, Gary Sanchez. The shortstop is Didi Gregorius. He'll bat fifth. Batting sixth and DHing. One of four Tylers on the Yankees' 24-man roster. Tyler Austin. The number 7 hitter is the second baseman, Ronald Torreyes. Austin Romine, the second baseman, the first baseman will bat eighth. And batting ninth and playing left field, it's Rob Refsnyder.
Well, that Yankee lineup going to face a tough left-hander in Jose Quintana, just starting his warm-up tosses. Look at his numbers on the year: 4-8, 4.69 ERA. Got off to a slow start. We're going to look at our pitcher scouting report, which is brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealers. First 2 months were not great, but he's back to his old self now in June. A 2-1 record with a 2.25 ERA. And the one thing you don't like, his walks are up. He's walking 8.6%, and that percentage rate for walks is a career high for him. But he is an old school 200 innings guy. The last 4 years, He has thrown over 200 innings. He would be a welcome addition to anybody's rotation.
And we'll talk about that as we move along. He's probably one of the most desired commodities out there, and the White Sox are listening to offers. Let's take a look at the defense behind him. Presented by Geico. You've got Cabrera in left, Engel in center, and Avasail Garcia over and right. In the infield, it's Frazier, Anderson, Sanchez, and Abreu. That's third to first. Kevin Smith behind the plate. And Jose Quintana, as John mentioned, is on the mound. So the Yankees won the first game of this 4-game set, first game of this 7-game road trip. Next stop is the Houston Astros on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Let's look at the game time weather presented by City MD. Feeling under the weather? Just walk into City MD Urgent Care. 72 degrees, 8 miles per hour, so not much wind. Humidity is 39%. The forecast calls for clear skies. I was watching a weather report last night, John. They said this is one of the coldest months of June on record here in Chicago.
It's surprising, right? When you walk around town, you always expect it to be hot and humid here. It's just gorgeous right now.
But tomorrow, it's supposed to be a little bit more normal, in the 80s, maybe the high 80s at some point. So the Yankees are 41-33, and the White Sox are 32-43. 11 games under 500 is the low point of the season for the White Sox. So Jacoby Ellsbury digs in. He came back off the DL, the concussion DL yesterday. He's ready. Quintana's ready. And let's do it here in Chicago. First pitch is a strike, and we're underway. Home plate umpire is Joe West. Hunter Wendelstedt is at first. John Lipka at second. Alan Porter is over third. Completely different crew than yesterday for the final 3 games of this 4-game stand. And a strike.
A good fastball right there from Quintana, jumping out ahead 0-2 on Ellsbury back in that leadoff spot last night. Tonight, Brett Gardner gets a night off.
And Joe Girardi said he'll probably flip-flop that tomorrow with Gardner back in the lineup and Ellsbury getting a day off.
Well, the Yankees get a much-needed win last night and a much different lineup tonight here in Chicago. Castro on the DL, Romine playing first base. Ref Snyder gets a start in left field.
And the 0-2. 1-2. Ellsbury got a hit last night. He had a 9-game hitting streak before he got the concussion. So now a 10-game hitting streak. 1-2. Check the swing. Did he go? No, said Alan Porter.
It's the first breaking ball Quintana has thrown, and we'll get a look from the side. Did Jacoby Ellsbury held up? He did. Quintana fastball, curveball, changeup.
Grounded to first. Abreu steps on the bag, 1 away. Here's Chase Headley. Back-to-back 3-hit games for Headley. So having a very good month of June after a very good month of April and an awful month of May. Grounded sharply to short. Anderson in the dirt, scooped up by Abreu. 2 outs. That's going to bring up Aaron Judge. One and 0. Judge 10 hits in his last 33 at-bats. He has a .432 on-base percentage, tops in the American League. And he has 50 walks. Now, we told you the last rookie to have 100 walks or more in a season was Jim Gilliam in 1953. That was yesterday. Today, we find out no rookie has led his league in walks since Joe Morgan in 1965. And if you want to say, well, how about in the American League? A guy by the name of Donnie Bush in 1909. Last rookie to lead the American League in walks. Two-one. 3-1.
3 walks last night for Aaron Judge, and obviously Quintana being careful here. The on-base percentage at .443, well above Aaron Hicks, not even close.
I got Smith slow. He's slow getting up in the count 3-2. And David Cohn always mentions this, John. He always seems to be 3-2.
Yeah, even when he gets behind 0-2, he's got the ability to fight back. And another look at the foul ball right off of that right shoulder. Kevin Smith.
And the payoff. Fouled away.
How's Joe Girardi looking on? I'm always interested to see how new teams try to attack Aaron Judge. With all these advanced scouts watching the at-bats, and he's so far off the plate. But it has to feel like he can't reach the ball out over the plate, and obviously we know it's his strength. They're going to try to come in now.
And a walk. Judge has 51 walks, and John, 31 of them have come on full counts.
I mean, Aaron Judge is one of those players that all the computer guys love, right? Because of the walks and all the pitches that he sees. But all of the old school guys like myself love because of 26 home runs, 59 RBIs, and the inflated batting average. A run producer, can drive in the big runs, and he takes his walks, and he sees a ton of pitches.
Here's Gary Sanchez. They play their second baseman, Sanchez, shaded up the middle, although he's on the second base side of the bag. In the outfield, center fielder Engel is toward left center. Sanchez does have power the other way, and that's why Garcia is pulled off the line and right, more toward right center. One and one.
Gary Sanchez behind the plate again tonight. Austin Romine playing first base. He caught last night. Sanchez has kind of moved around this lineup. Second, sixth, now back into that cleanup spot.
Didi Gregorius on deck. And the 2-1. 2-2.
Sanchez a little late on that fastball right there. Quintana left it out over the plate. 93 miles an hour, but it had a little hop on it. Sanchez is a little bit late. Notice it last night with David Holmberg, the left-hander. They're coming in on the righties pretty good last night. Early on in this game, a couple of times on Judge and here on Sanchez.
One off speed, and the count is full at 3-2. And the 3-2. Swung on and missed. He went upstairs with the fastball. And Sanchez strikes out. No runs, no hits, no errors, one left. Yankees nothing. White Sox come to bat. Severino. Let's take a look at their lineup. Yolmer Sanchez at second base. Melky Cabrera, the switch hitters, in left. Jose Abreu at first base will bat third. Last 14 games on fire, 373. Avasail Garcia is in right field. He'll clean up. The number 5 hitter, third baseman Todd Frazier. Matt Davidson, the DH, will bat sixth. Batting seventh, the shortstop Tim Anderson. Kevin Smith will catch, he'll bat eighth. And batting ninth and playing center field, it's Adam Engel.
A lineup for the White Sox going to face Luis Severino in the middle of his warm-up tosses. We'll look at his numbers on the year. His 15th start, 5-3, the 3.30 ERA. We'll look at our pitcher scouting report brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealers. He's coming off 2 tough outings, 9 earned runs in the last 12 innings for Severino. But even with that 3.30 ERA is 7th in the league. And the one time he faced the White Sox this year was a tough loss, April 18th. Had 8 innings, 10 strikeouts in that game, but Pete Kozma made an error. Opened up the door for Garcia, who had a 3-run home run. Yankees lost that tough game 4-1.
Well, Sanchez is ready. Two for his last 10. Hitting 194 in his last 19 games. Pitch is low.
I talked to pitching coach Larry Rothschild before the game about Severino in the last couple of outings, and he said, you know what, I don't want him to change a thing. I think everything has been pretty good. A fastball command maybe wasn't as great as it was early on in the year. He's happy with the fastball velocity. He's happy with the slider and the change.
Count 2-2.
Severino, his last time out, 5 earned runs in 6 innings against the Angels.
And the pitch. Fouled away.
A little different lineup for the White Sox tonight. Tim Anderson against the lefty Montgomery last night was leading off. Now Sanchez takes over against the righty Severino.
3-2. Grounded to first, then grabbed in foul territory by Austin Romine.
Austin Romine playing first base tonight, and I love some of the answers he had with the media before the game when they asked him about it. I feel pretty comfortable over there. If they hit the ball to me, I'm going to try to knock it down. If they throw it to me, I'm going to try to catch it. Keep it simple.
Now you might wonder, why is Tyler Austin DHing and Austin Romine playing first? And Joe Girardi has a really good reason for it. Got a very light bench, especially with Matt Holliday active, but probably unavailable. That one's lined into center field and past the diving Ellsbury for a base hit. Sanchez will go for 2 and he'll make it.
Well, a good bid by Ellsbury, just can't come up with it. And against or off of the left-handed swing, this ball slicing away from Ellsbury a little bit. Face plants on the turf, just off the edge of his glove. He went a long way to try to get that. That ball slicing away from him. Leadoff double for Sanchez.
You worry about Ellsbury when he hits the ground like that and has a little bit of a whiplash. Remember, he's coming off concussion. Seems like he's okay. Anyway, to finish up about why he's playing first, the Yankees have a short bench. If you DH Austin Romine and you play Tyler Austin at first base and something happened to Sanchez, you're going to lose your DH and you're going to end up pinch hitting pitchers because they just don't have enough people on the bench. So this way, if something happens to Sanchez, Austin Romine just moves behind the plate. And John, the Yankees are seriously concerned about Matt Holliday.
You have to be, right?
I mean, he looks pale today, walked on the bus. We were sitting there and we asked him how he was. He said, not too great. And this is a guy who wants to play.
Yes.
You know, he's like a John Wayne sort of character. So the Yankees are confused because the blood tests have come back okay, but if it continues tomorrow, they're going to have to send him for further testing.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously you're concerned about Matt, but you're playing with a short bench. He's probably not available tonight, and it's got to be frustrating from a player's standpoint.
There's a strike to Cabrera.
You know, Starlin Castro tweaks his hamstring. You understand that. It's probably going to be a 10-day deal, and you look forward to rehab and getting back. But Matt Holliday, it's got to be incredibly frustrating not to know what the cause of the problem is. Try to get it straightened out.
Count 0-2 on Milk. He has a 5-game hitting streak. He's 7 for 22 over that time. His contract expires at the end of the year, so there's a good chance he'll be dealt if some team thinks he could be the final piece of the puzzle. Very long story today in the Chicago Sun-Times, quoting Rick Hahn, the GM, who said, everyone's available. He said, just make me the offer. He said, but I'm not giving him away. But if something can improve our long-term viability as a franchise and a team, I'll deal anybody.
I look around. There's a lot of pieces I think that a lot of clubs would be interested in. Melky being one of them. Pitcher on the mound being another. A couple of bullpen guys.
Maybe Todd Frazier at third. But if he tries to measure everything up to the package he got back from the Red Sox for sale, it's going to be hard for any team to match that. And the Red Sox gave their top prospect and a pitcher, or the Major League's top prospect, and a pitcher that's been clocked at 103 miles an hour, Michael Kopech. And I think he's going to be looking for something close to that for Quintana, because Quintana, 4 years in a row, 200 or more innings. You don't get those type of players.
Yeah, I think the scouts in there are plenty of them here at this game tonight. You know, you got to look past the numbers, and I talked about it. Quintana in the month of June has figured it out, and you wonder if all those trade rumors, talks at the beginning of the year affected him. You know, he's had a nice run here in Chicago, last 4 years, over 200 innings.
Swing and a miss. Sanchez to Romine. So a strikeout, the put out is 2-3. Let's check out the Yankee defense, which is presented by Geico. In the outfield, you've got Refsnyder in left, just a day off for Gardner. Ellsbury in center and Judge over in right. Infield, it's Headley, Gregorius, Torreyes, and Romine third to first. Sanchez behind the plate. John's told you about Luis Severino on the mound. And here's Jose Abreu. Abreu won the Rookie of the Year in 2014. And he is called here in Chicago the anti-Puig. Where Yasiel Puig is about, look at me and flashiness. Abreu is kind of a blue-collar player who grounds out to Headley. And that's going to bring up Garcia.
Let's see if Severino can finish off this first inning. Obviously, leadoff double, being able to work his way out of some problems here would raise his confidence after giving up 9 earned runs in his last 12 innings. Going to get back on track here tonight.
Pumps a fastball by him. 0-1. He goes around. 0-2. West did not check with the first base umpire. He said he went around. And somewhere, Paul O'Neill is shaking his head in disgust.
When we opened up our show and we started talking about Luis Severino, it was the good pitches, the sliders that were down, and some mistakes that he has been making lately. He just threw an 0-2 slider right there to Garcia that didn't do a whole lot. Lucky to get away with it.
Severino has thrown 20 pitches this inning, 8 foul balls by the White Sox hitters. You know, an interesting stat along those lines, Yankees held on for the victory yesterday, and Aroldis Chapman was on the mound. He's throwing 100 miles an hour. He threw 20 pitches in the 9th inning and did not get one swing and miss, which is startling.
Yeah, we talked about it, right? Because the radar gun was lit up at 100 miles an hour, but the White Sox were swinging at that fastball, taking some good swings.
One-two. Good fastball, misses the outside corner. 2-2.
Yeah, if you're Luis Severino, you don't want to do anything to agitate Joe West behind the plate. That fastball looks like it's off the plate. Sanchez tries to bring it back. Joe West, one of those umpires that he will get upset with a pitcher who thinks he had a strike and starts walking off the mound.
Swing and a miss. Ball in the dirt. Garcia tagged out by Sanchez. So the leadoff double is wasted for the White Sox. And we'll go to the second inning, 0-0. Brought to you by Toyota. Prius Prime is the official hybrid vehicle of the New York Yankees. We asked, do you think games feel more exciting than usual when players are making their major league debuts? Justin C. Cologne said, yes, it does. It's always exciting to see a new prospect fulfill his dream and make it to the show, especially if he contributes. Well, we might see that today. Might see Tyler Wade.
Well, we saw Tyler Wade out on the field before batting practice, just kind of walking around, taking it all in, a big smile on his face, and a dream has been fulfilled. Big league call-up.
And last week we saw Tyler Webb do it. Follow Yes Network and tweet us your responses using hashtag Yankees Prius Prime to keep the conversation going. There's a little bit of an issue, though, John.
How long is it going to take before we screw this up?
Well, I'd say at least twice in this game. We have a Tyler Webb, a Tyler Wade, a Tyler Austin, a Tyler Clippard. We also have an Austin Romine to throw you off. Then we have a Aaron Hicks and an Aaron Judge.
Now, I told you need to think about Tyler Wade as in Wade Boggs, right? Plays the infielder.
Yep.
Although this kid plays the outfield as well. I don't know if that's going to give you problems.
No, that actually helped me as I was just saying it now, because I looked down and I have Webb written down too, and I said, no, John told me about Wade Boggs.
Wade Boggs.
Yeah. He looks very young.
You know what you love about that promotion? Obviously, you know, a kid fulfilling his dream, but he earned it, and he played really good down in AAA. Batting average well over 300, 24 stolen bases. Everybody raves about the way he runs the bases, and obviously the versatility and flexibility. It's kind of the new age of baseball now.
Everybody wants their own Ben Zobrist. In his last 26 games at AAA, 365 average. There's more info. Born in Murrieta, California, 4th round pick by the Yankees out of Murrieta High School. 11th ranked Yankee prospect according to MLB.com. And a .274 hitter through the Yankee minor league system as Gregorius swings and misses. Put out 2-3. I loved what he said to Meredith. If you missed the interview, it's certainly online and on Twitter, but how he told his mom and dad, he called them up and said, what are you guys doing tomorrow? We're working. No, you're going to be in Chicago. Well, what do you mean we're going to be in Chicago? Then they finally caught on, and the mom started crying. He said the dad was really cool about it. So they are here tonight.
From Southern California, right?
Yep.
Get on a plane, able to make it.
You got to drop everything if your kid's making a debut, I guess, in the big leagues.
Yeah, I was curious to see if he was going to be in the lineup. He hit pretty well against lefties down in AAA. Joe Girardi deciding not to give him the start tonight.
And Girardi said, I want to get him in there as soon as possible. He said the last thing you want is for a kid to stick around and wait to get in for the first time.
Well, you got to believe Joe Girardi loves having him on his roster, right? Because you can cover so many positions defensively with a quality left-handed bat, and can pinch run, go in to steal a base with his 24 bags that he had at AAA. He's kind of taking ground balls all over the place today. Espada was talking about shortstop, where he played predominantly in AAA because the need was there, but also plays second base, third base, and all 3 outfield positions.
Tyler Austin swings and misses. 3rd strikeout for Quintana, and Meredith has more about Wade working with Espada.
Well, Michael, Wade got here about 10:30 this morning, went to the hotel, then took the first bus at 2 and decided to get on the field early and really just acquaint himself with this stadium. And Joe Espada said back in spring training, the first thing that stood out to him about Wade was his work ethic. Also, he said he seems wise beyond his years, a lot of knowledge, knowing the nuances of how to play second, third, short, even the outfield. Today, they were talking about preparation, what it's going to be like to be up here, and expectations that the organization has for Wade. As far as that utility role that he's kind of fell into, Espada said he told him way back in spring training, just embrace it, and Wade has really done that so far.
I think in the past, John, it was almost like a pejorative term, utility guy. and it meant that you're going to sit on the bench a lot. But now you could be that guy and be in the lineup every day.
You know what it meant back when I came up? That you were hanging on by a thread. You would do whatever you had to do to stay in the major leagues. Now you have young kids like Tyler coming to the big leagues, and you're such a valuable player because of your flexibility playing all the different positions.
That one is looped to right field. Garcia is there to retire Torres, and the Yankees go down in order. 1, 2, 3, and we'll go to the bottom of the second inning. Here in Chicago, 0-0, Yankees and the Sox.
Well, you already stole the first line. A total rebuild here in Chicago. There are plenty of players available. It's a showcase here on the south side, and they're kind of bottom of the pack offensively. They have 342 runs. That's 11th. Only 86 home runs. That's 12th in the league. And pitching and defense, the rotation ERA has not been great, and fielding percentage is 14th in the league. So the White Sox struggling a little bit defensively.
Now here's Todd Frazier. Led off the second inning with a home run yesterday against Jordan Montgomery, who gave the Yankees 7 strong, allowing just that 1 run. Frazier from Toms River, New Jersey, which is about 85 miles from Yankee Stadium. Also the hometown of Al Leiter. .97 miles an hour on that pitch, and that's the fast pitch speed analytics brought to you by Fios.
The Leiter family just added another big leaguer, huh?
Mm-hmm. Mark Leiter Jr. Frazier swings and misses. Third strikeout for Severino. He's got his first big league win.
Todd Frazier saw everything this at bat: the fastball, changeup, and then the nasty slider and a weak swing. All pitchers too, huh?
Yes. And Al's son Jack is supposedly pretty good too, being recruited by major colleges.
As a pitcher?
Yep.
Righty or lefty?
He's a righty.
Severino breaking out the changeup here in the second inning. 2 of them already. Both have been quality pitches.
.98 miles an hour.
Velocity's getting where we're used to seeing it from Severino. Was a little tick below in the first, but as Larry Rothschild mentioned to me before the game, fastball command, he's kind of all over the place with location with the fastball early on. We'll see if he can tighten that up. There you go.
Just overpowering right now. 99 miles an hour, 4 strikeouts for Severino.
You love the velocity, but watch where Sanchez is setting up. Leaks over the plate just a little bit, but not bad. And Yes Mo, brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. That's what 99 miles an hour looks like in Yes Mo.
8 swings and misses, John, for the last 3 hitters. Here's Tim Anderson. Wraps one foul.
We saw this from Jordan Montgomery a little bit last night too, in the middle of the ball game, kind of finding his groove. The rhythm picks up, the pace picks up a little bit. That's exactly what we're seeing from Severino here in the second.
Well, Montgomery and Severino have certainly done their part. Keep the Yankees at the top of the American League East.
Well, this was Tim Anderson last night against Chasen Shreve, and you see Shreve's reaction. And he really threw the ball pretty well last night. That was the worst pitch he threw of the night, and it cost him a 3-run home run.
Swing and a miss. He strikes out the side. 5 strikeouts in 2 innings. White Sox go down in order. We go to the 3rd.
We're doing more in state-of-the-art healthcare. Starlin Castro was placed on the 10-day DL today after an MRI revealed a grade 1 strain of his hamstring. He did tell me today that he felt pretty good, didn't feel as though he was favoring it at all or limping. He thinks it is going to be just the 10 days, and you see him pull up right there. That's where it happened last night. Joe Girardi reiterated that in the pregame media session, saying he doesn't think it's that bad. He hopes Castro is back after the 10 days.
Well, grade 1 is about as good a news as you could get, and that's the exact same grade that he had last year, and he missed 10 games. So they're hoping he does get back, as Meredith said. But you also mentioned, in an aside, it's not easy to lose your 2nd, 3rd, and 4th hitters. He said that's essentially what we've done. So Aaron Hicks is out, Starlin Castro's out, and Holiday is not on the DL, but he's not available. So that's a lot of firepower to lose, and Castro's been an important part of what the Yankees have done this year.
Also making a push for that All-Star game too, right? Now he's going to miss 10 days.
1-1 on Austin Romine. Grounded to 3rd. Frazier. 1 away. Speaking of the All-Star game, it's the can't-miss event of the summer, and it hits South Beach when baseball's biggest stars take the field for the MLB All-Star game, July 11th on Fox. He's probably going to be there. Leading vote getter in the American League, Aaron Judge. Ref Snyder fouls it away.
He says he has not thought about the home run derby, right? Concentrating on winning.
That's what he said.
Kind of hard to believe.
The 0-1. We'll give you more information on Quintana because you're going to hear a lot about him as he gets closer to the trade deadline. Signed in 2006 by the Mets out of the country of Colombia. He's 28 years old. He did not pitch in 2007 because he violated the minor league drug program. Then the Yankees signed him. And then he was released and they signed him again. And in 2011 in the Yankee organization, he pitched in high A Tampa. He had a 2.91 ERA in 30 games, 12 of them starts. But we talked about this yesterday. When you've got a lot of talent in your farm system, you have to make decisions. They did not put him on their 40-man roster. So any team was free to pick him up, and the White Sox grabbed him. And the White Sox also signed him March 24, 2014 to a 5-year, $26.5 million deal. And there's 2 team options, so it could take it into 2020. That's unbelievable.
Exactly.
To get this type of pitcher that price, and that's why the price for him on the trade market is going to be very, very high. And they're not in any rush. He's just 28, and they still have him signed through at least 2020.
Yeah, and if you're the White Sox, he's getting hot at the right time. His last 4 starts, starting to pitch much better. And I was looking at that contract today, too, and I'm like, wow, the left-hander who throws 200 innings and is under a very, very nice contract. It's going to get interesting at the deadline.
Fly ball center field. Angles there, 2 away. Now, one of the promises he made to himself, John, was in 2013. He said, I am going to learn English. I'm going to do interviews in English. I'm going to talk to my teammates in English. It's important that I learn English. So you know how he did it? He watched Jimmy Fallon every night. And Jimmy Fallon heard about this. And when the White Sox were in New York to play the Yankees in April, Jose Quintana went on the Tonight Show.
Did he really?
And he taught Jimmy Fallon how to speak Spanish. Kind of a nice moment.
Great stuff. I didn't realize he's only 28 years old. I feel like he's been around forever.
I learned from Jimmy Fallon, too. I learned to send out thank you notes on Friday. That's important. Aaron Judge was on Jimmy Fallon's show in a tape skit, and he was very funny.
Very good.
Line drive. Oh, what a play by Frazier, taking an extra base hit away from Ellsbury. An outstanding grab of a blistering line drive. Not too much reaction time there, but Frazier made it to end the inning.
It's a couple years ago when I played for Yankees and I ride to this country and watch your shows. It's so funny, man. Your accent is so easy for me, so I learned a couple words in your shows.
Could you give us a taste of something that you learned from watching us?
Yeah, you are awesome. You are so good, so awesome, so good, so great, so funny.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, we get, okay.
Well, that was Jose Quintana with Jimmy Fallon earlier this year. You can see the energy and just the happiness coming from Quintana, who's certainly done well in the major leagues, and now all of his interviews are conducted in English with English-speaking media. Got to be happy about his first 3 innings. Count 2-0 on Kevin Smith. It's Smith, Engel, and Sanchez, 8, 9, and 1 in the order against Luis Severino. There's a base hit through the right side. Breaks a string of 6 in a row retired by Severino.
He just challenged Smith with a 2-0 fastball down the middle. He just blocks it off the other way. No big deal for Severino. You don't have to worry about any speed at first base. Now you go take care of Engel.
Engel hitting .302. Swing and a miss.
If you're Gary Sanchez behind the plate, you have to be pleased with that slider. He's thrown one bad slider through the first couple of innings. Every other one has been quality.
He goes around 0-2. Five strikeouts so far for Severino. And he struck out the side in the second. One and two.
You look at Gary Sanchez trying to get Severino going here tonight, and you start thinking, should I throw 3 sliders in a row? He just called the third one. Catchers don't like to call the same pitch 3 times in a row. You always feel like you have to go to something different to set up another slider, possibly. It's like a fastball in. There we go. .99% of the time after you set up that pitch there, fastball up and in, you're going back down and away to that slider that's been devastating early on in this game. And here it comes. I said he threw 1 bad slider in this game. Well, there's 2. No one just kind of spun right there, trying to make it a little nastier with 2 strikes.
Swing and a tip into the glove of Sanchez. Strikeout number 6. 1 away here in the third.
Well, nothing fancy about this. Here's a fastball right down the middle. My fastball's going to beat you, and it did.
Here's Sanchez, who doubled in the first and was left stranded. Swing and a miss. Smith leads off first, held there by Romine. Grounded foul. Gregorius shades up the middle. And there's a base hit through the right side. Smith stops at second. Sanchez is 2 for 2 against Severino.
He just gave up a hit right there and an 0-2 pitch to Sanchez, but Severino has been locked in early on. Good slider to Melky. Another good slider to Garcia. Another good slider to Todd Frazier. Weak swing right there, and the fastball velocity has also been there for Severino. 6 strikeouts already. Stuff looks really good early on.
He's got a jam to work out of here in the third. First and second, 1 man out, and Melky Cabrera at the plate. He's the first of the 6 strikeout victims. Melky likes to hit against the Yankees. 310 in 47 games. Two and one.
Pitch right there to get back in the count. Just dropped the slider on the outside corner for strike 1, and obviously a big challenge here for Severino with the heart of the lineup coming up here. First and second, 1 out.
Fly ball right center on the run as Ellsbury makes the catch. Tagging is Smith. He'll stop right there. So a nice play by Ellsbury, covering a lot of ground. He gets a high five from Aaron Judge. Sanchez thought it was going to fall in.
Yeah, I think that it was off the end of the bat just a little bit for Melky. Sanchez aggressive base running, is able to get back to first base. And you're right, Ellsbury covering a lot of ground. As you see, Sanchez thinks it's going to find a gap, and then he retreats back to first.
Here's Jose Abreu. Grounded to third in the first. And he takes a pitch low and inside. 1-0. Garcia's on deck.
Severino starting to fall behind in counts a little bit, and these aren't the guys you want to fall behind to. Abreu, Garcia, Melky Cabrera got away with it with Cabrera. Be very careful with this pitch right here.
Grounded inside first and down the right field line. Kevin Smith will score. Sanchez is going to third. They're going to hold him up right there. It's an RBI double for Abreu. It's 1-0 White Sox.
Well, Severino fell behind in the count 2-0, but he threw a changeup and a pretty good pitch. Down and away, and Abreu just flips it the other way. I mean, that was a great pitch by Severino. And didn't get away with it. Abreu stayed on it just enough to drive it the other way, and the White Sox are on the board.
49th ribby for Abreu. And now you have a tough cookie in Garcia with runners on second and third, 2 men out. First base open, Frazier is on deck. Garcia struck out in the first, and he swings and misses here in the third.
Again, Larry Rothschild is in my ear. Fastball command has not been great lately. You see how far Sanchez has to reach for it. I mean, he missed by a full plate. Got away with it because of the velocity.
Grounded foul. Swing and a miss. 99 miles an hour, and Garcia down on strikes. But the White Sox get 1 run on 3 hits, 2 men left on base. But he blisters one past Garcia to get out of further trouble. Baseball on Yes is brought to you in part by NYA Langone Orthopedics and by Honda. Great deals are waiting for you now at your local Honda dealer. That's the Married with Children fountain. That's what I call it. Chase Headley takes a strike. Headley grounded to short in the first. Out of scoreboard, 1-0 White Sox. Swing and a miss, and Headley down on strikes. 4th strikeout for Quintana.
Quintana looked sharp early on. The elevated fastball right where he wanted it. His powers are right by Chase Headley.
Here's Aaron Judge. He walked in the first inning. In fact, that's the Yankees' only base runner. And a strike.
There's that pitch we were talking about last night, that fastball inside. The pitchers are trying to get strikes on the inside corner. Aaron Judge and home plate umpires just are not calling it.
You know, you alluded to this yesterday, John. He really gets a remarkable amount of respect from the umpires for a rookie. He doesn't really argue with them, and if he takes a pitch, they're now convinced it's probably a ball.
I noticed 2 locations they don't call strikes, and I just mentioned the fastball in. They don't seem to call a strike on Aaron Judge, and I think that borderline down pitch, you know, he's 6'7", so I'm sure there's a little bit of confusion on if it's a strike or not. The luxury for Aaron Judge can kind of hunt the fastball out over the plate and try to do some damage.
High fly ball, right field, going back Garcia, and he's there to make the play. Did not have the carry. Looked like it might, but it died into the Garcia's glove for the second out.
Well, Aaron Judge executing his game plan perfectly. Look for a ball out over the plate, put yourself in a good count, 3-1. But you're right, he just didn't click it on the good part of the bat. You can see the look of frustration. Quintana wanted it inside. He didn't get it there, but a sense of relief as that ball died right in front of the warning track.
Here's Gary Sanchez. You know, on a warmer night, that ball probably goes out, but it's not that much of a warm night.
I'm also thinking back to last night where the flags were really blowing out to right center field. Not that Aaron Judge obviously needs any help, but he didn't hit that on the good part of the bat. Not a whole lot of wind tonight.
One and one on Sanchez, who struck out in the first. Three and one on Sanchez.
He goes with a 2-1 breaking ball, misses. Joe West not giving him that lower outside corner.
Tries a backdoor breaking ball and just misses. So the second base runner for the Yankees on the second walk issued by Quintana. That'll bring up Didi Gregorius.
I mentioned in the scouting report on Quintana that he has walked more batters this year than he has in the past, but he's not missing by much, and that's some respect right there for Gary Sanchez. 3-1 breaking ball, tries to bring it back to the outside corner and doesn't get it there.
Here's Gregorius, who struck out in the second. Loops that one toward third. Tough hop. Frazier stays with it, but the throw pulls Abreu off the bag. It's a base hit for Didi Gregorius. Boy, that was like a pull shot cued off the end of the bat.
Didi got jammed, and I think it put some real spin on the baseball. We'll see Frazier goes to his right, and then he's going to have to reach back because of the spin when it hit the dirt. And because of that, he doesn't have his feet underneath him and will have nothing on the throw. A little jam shot the other way, some spin. That combination leads to an infield hit.
Yankees' first hit of the night. Here's Tyler Austin. He struck out in the second. Foul back. 1-1. Two hits and 12 at bats for Austin. One of them a home run. Strike on the inside corner, 1-2. Two and two.
You watch Quintana work. He covers so many different zones. We saw the high fastball to strike out Headley. He just threw a high fastball there to Tyler Austin. He's been clipping the inside part of the plate on the right-handed batters, breaking balls away. There's a lot to think about if you're facing Quintana tonight.
Two balls, two strikes, two outs, 2 on, 1-0 White Sox, top of the 4th. And that one gets away from Smith. Both runners move up. And that's a wild pitch.
Yeah, Smith wants it down and in, and it ends up middle and kind of has that spin that he can't get it off of his chest protector. A little lean towards his left leg kind of cost Smith right there. Wasn't able to get back to it.
So 3-2 now on Austin. Runners lead. And the payoff. Foul back over the screen.
Good swing right there, Tyler Austin. We talked a little bit last night. If he can keep his approach middle of the field the other way, that's where a lot of his power is. Last night he just reacted on a ball inside. Was able to pull it for a home run. I was interested to see what Quintana was going to do there. 3-2, 2 outs. He came right at the young designated hitter. See if he goes fastball again or tries to backdoor that curveball.
Strike 3, took it right down the middle. And the Yankees will strand 2. No runs a hit, no errors, and 2 men left. We go to the bottom of the 4th, 1-0 White Sox. Vote the Yankees for your 2017 All-Stars with the Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot. Go to Yankees.com/vote and catch all of the excitement of the 88th Major League Baseball All-Star Game presented by MasterCard July 11th, live on Fox. Audi scoreboard, White Sox 1 and the Yankees nothing as we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Tyler Austin looks at a cold third strike as the Yankees' threat is ended. Frazier takes low 1-0. There's a strike, 1-1. Foul back into the booth next door.
Todd hit his 13th home run of the year last night. Batting average down in the low 200s, but still plenty of power. Playing a good third base. You wonder what his value might be at the trade deadline.
Former first-round draft pick by the Reds in 2007 out of Rutgers. And in 1998, he was the outstanding player as a 12-year-old as his Toms River team beat Japan in the Little League World Series. He hit .600. And he also pitched the final 2 innings of the championship game. And because they won Little League World Series, they came to Yankee Stadium. Here he was standing next to Derek Jeter during the national anthem. Base hit into left field. Ref Snyder will get the ball in, so Frazier with a leadoff single.
Severino looked like he had it locked in the 2nd inning with his 3 strikeouts, and there just a 3-2 slider, throws it for a strike. Give Todd Frazier a little bit of credit for making an adjustment. He looked bad on the slider his first at bat. Severino went back to it, and he was ready this time.
So here's Matt Davidson. He has 7 homers in his last 15 games, 17 in all. Swing and a miss. Snap to first. Frazier's back. Sanchez shaking his arm after that throw. They've got him hung up. And Frazier is out. 1-3-4. He just took off when Severino still had the ball.
It looked like he was sizing him up the first couple of pitches and obviously guessed wrong right there. Austin Romine gets an angle, a good throw to Torreyes. Just trying to go with that secondary lead and take off with the timing of it.
Swing and a miss. Davidson down on strikes. Strikeout number 8 for Severino.
He feels good about his fastball, just kind of letting it fly tonight. Goes right by Davidson.
strike to Anderson. Check swing, and the count 1-2.
.47 strikes, 25 balls. Pitch count elevated at 72 here with 2 outs in the 4th.
In his only other start against the White Sox this year, Severino struck out 10. That was on April 18th. So he's at 8 here in the 4th. The whole Yankee team came off the field on a late call by Joe West. They knew before he did, so there's 9 strikeout as Anderson goes down looking. We go to the 5th. Chicago, 9 strikeouts for Severino on the GMC scoreboard, though he's trailing 1-0. And it'll be the bottom third of the order against Jose Quintana, Torreyes, Romine, and Refsnyder. Pitch outside. Torreyes with a fly ball to right. This is his 6th straight start.
It's funny you bring that up. 6 straight starts, and everybody's making some adjustments. No more first pitch fastballs to Torreyes. First pitch breaking ball, ball 1, fastball, ball 2.
(3-0) on Ronald Torreyes. So Starlin Castro put on the DL with a hamstring injury, grade 1. The Yankees are hoping that he will be back in the 10-day DL stint. And a walk. He threw 4 straight balls to Torreyes. That's his 3rd walk of the night. And we don't walk, we run back to Bob Loren for more info. Thank you, Bob. Runner at first, nobody out. Here's Romine, and he grounds one to Frazier. He goes to second one on to first. It's an around the horn 5-4-3 double play.
Well, pitcher's best friend, especially after you walk the number 7 hitter on 4 straight pitches. Nice easy play for Frazier across to Sanchez.
Here's Rob Refsnyder. And the pitch. There's a strike. Refsnyder with a fly ball to center. That was in the third. Yankees have just one hit. An infield single toward third by Didi Gregorius. 1-1. White Sox have lost 4 in a row and 7 of their last 8. Chop toward Frazier. He waits for the hop, gets it, fires, and gets Refsnyder for the final out of an 8-pitch inning. No runs, no hits, no errors. Nobody left. We're halfway through. On the Brewers in an interleague matchup. It's Yankees Travel Tumbler Day, and the first 18,000 guests in attendance will receive a Yankees Travel Tumbler, courtesy of Good Humor. For tickets, log on to Yankees.com, visit the Yankee Stadium ticket window, Yankees clubhouse shops, or you can call Ticketmaster at 877-469-9849. GMC scoreboard, it's 1-0 White Sox as we head to the bottom of the 5th. Base hit over the head of Romine for Kevin Smith. Second time he's gone to the right side, so he's 2 for 2.
Severino is beating him with his fastball, but you're right, he just stays inside of it and fights it off the other way. Looks like his approach is right side of the field.
There's a strike.
Obviously, Kevin Smith being a catcher is not a great runner at first base. If you're the Yankees defensively, you're thinking high fastball. Be the toughest pitch to bunt if Engel chooses to bunt again. And you're also thinking trying to cut down that lead runner at second base with a guy who doesn't run real well.
Squares the bunt. They call it a ball, 1-1.
If I'm Severino and Sanchez and Engel wants to bunt, I'm going to try to elevate that fastball at about 98, 99 to be a tough pitch to get down. Hear that slider down in the dirt. Sanchez is backhands it, keeps it in front. Nice high target here.
Bunted toward first. They thought about going to second. But remember, Romine's essentially a novice at first, so he takes the out at first, flipping it to Ronald Torreyes. So the sac bunt is 3-4.
Engel gets a job done. You're right. An experienced first baseman, probably a little bit more aggressive. Austin Romine, the right play. Make sure you get an out. They're trying to give you an out. Make sure you get it.
Meredith Maragovitz asked Romine about playing first, and he smiled. He said, whatever gets me in the lineup. Here's Sanchez, who's 2 for 2 against Severino. Pitch high, 1-0. Line, oh, nice play by Romine for the second out. A bid for an RBI snatched out of the air by a diving Romine.
Well, Austin Romine has become such a valuable player for the Yankees, the ability to play first base. And just don't make it too complicated. It goes to his right, reaction, nice play. Severino loves it. It is not that easy to move from behind the plate to first base. Things happen awfully quick out there. Nice play by Austin Romine.
Here's Melky Cabrera. Knocks the glove off of Severino. Gets after it and fires to first. An athletic play by the Yankee pitcher for the final out of the inning. No runs a hit, no errors, and one man left. Where's the glove? He doesn't care, he got the out. Severino is.
Oh, really does. Melky hits this ball hard. Severino knocks it down. The glove comes off, and then he's able to get there And the athletic part of the play is the spin move. Glove goes flying, sprints after it, spins, and the accurate throw to Austin Romine. So defense showing up in the 5th inning for the Yankees.
And it'll be the top of the order for the Yankees here in the 6th against Quintana. Gives us time, John. I'm sure that everybody at Yes, including the two of us here in the booth and Meredith, send our best wishes to our esteemed leader, John Filippelli, who underwent back surgery today. Long surgery. Took about 6 hours. Came out of it great. He's recuperating right now in the hospital. Probably has the game on, so we send our best wishes.
Yeah, hopefully it takes care of the problem. Flip was obviously in some discomfort, so hopefully everything will be much better moving forward.
One could not hold up. 1-2. Last time up, Ellsbury blistered a line drive. Great play by Todd Frazier. Took away what was likely an extra base hit. Boy, every inning he throws, the price is going higher.
I was just going to ask you, through 5 innings, well, I mean, he has shown us that he's ready to go. The numbers are a little deceiving. Got off to a slow start this year.
I mean, he could be a guy that pushes a team into a playoff spot, or he could be a guy that gets a team to win a round.
Like everything about it, the velocity, the breaking ball's good, throwing his changeup just enough, using all sides of the plate.
Well, lowest ERAs from 2013 through 16. Quintana has the 5th best, and the other names are pretty impressive. Sale, the King, Kluber, Price, and then Quintana. Ground ball to second. Sanchez gets Ellsbury for the first out.
I love the stuff. I love how quickly he's working. It seems like he's in a great rhythm with Smith behind the plate. It just seems like a guy would be easy to play defense behind. Mentioned he's walking maybe more this year than he has in the past. And a couple of walks in this one so far. And he'll give you 200 innings. Very valuable from the left side.
High fly ball, right field off the bat of Headley. Garcia makes the play in front of the track.
I'm also looking at the number of pitches that he throws per start. His last time out, 113. He's thrown 114 this year, so he's not a guy who gets to 100 pitches and his night is over.
Here's Judge, 0 for 1 with a walk. He hit one that looked like it had a chance in the 4th inning, but died. And it was caught by Garcia. That one is ripped to left field. That's going to be a base hit. It splits the outfielders, and it goes to the wall. And Judge has a 2-out double. Yankees' first legitimate hit of the night.
You know, obviously when Aaron Judge is having the year that he's having, he's making adjustments, and he's noticed that the White Sox pitchers have tried to come inside, and looks like first pitch fastball, he's looking for something in there, and he gets it, just hammers it to the gap, an easy double. And the at-bats are so impressive, but also a young hitter who's kind of paying attention to how teams are trying to get him out. Not the worst thing in the world going up there looking for a fastball in.
So big spot here for Sanchez, who's 0 for 1 with a walk.
Quintana doesn't mess around. Didi Gregorius on deck, a left-handed hitter, obviously. First base is open. I'm thinking Quintana might pitch carefully to Sanchez. He came right at him with a first pitch fastball. Good swing by Sanchez, fouled it straight back, but it just tells you the mindset of Quintana. Very aggressive.
Yeah, the walk by Judge in the first, a double here in the sixth, extends his on-base streak to 29 straight games. Trying to sneak in behind Judge. And that is the longest streak by a Yankee since Derek Jeter had a 34-game streak to end the 2012 season. So Judge leads off second. White Sox lead 1-0. Top of the sixth. 1-2. With runners in scoring position this year, Sanchez hitting .341. Called straight back.
And again, tells you the mindset of Quintana. He is so aggressive with his fastball. Up and in. Another good swing by Sanchez. A lot of times hitters will be kind of on their heels thinking a pitcher's going to pitch around them with first base open. And a left-handed hitter on deck. Quintana not one of those guys. He's coming right at Sanchez.
Nice block there by Smith. Breaking ball in the dirt. 2-2.
Yeah, we talked about Smith a little bit last night and his ability to block the baseball. Another good play here. The glove leads, the body follows. Redirecting it back towards the playing field.
Two. Another one in the dirt. 3-2.
I talked about the aggressiveness of Quintana in this at bat with his fastball. We'll see what he's thinking here. 3-2. 2 down. Aaron Judge at second base. A left-handed hitter on deck and first base open. And 2 breaking balls in a row. We'll see what he does here. 3-2.
Judge leads off second. 3-2 pitch. Popped up. Sanchez makes the play, and Quintana works out of trouble. No run to hit. 1 man left. We go to the bottom of the sixth. 1-0 Chicago. Rodriguez signed a minor league contract with the Nationals. He has an out date if he's not called up, but boy, the Nationals need a closer. John Farrell, suspended 1 game and fined by Major League Baseball, put his finger in an umpire's chest. And Jason Grilli, who's been really batted around this year for the Blue Jays, designated for assignment by Toronto. And the umpire that got poked was Bill Miller. 1-0, White Sox, as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. The only run scored on an RBI double by Jose Abreu in the 3rd inning. And here he is leading off. He's 1 for 2. The RBI he picked up in the 3rd was his 49th of the year. Grounded to 3rd, fair ball. Headley field, sets and fires, 1 away. Here's Garcia. He's having a great year, but right now he's in an 0 for 15 slide, 1 for 19. Chop foul. Probably between Garcia and Abreu to be the White Sox representative in the All-Star game. Ground ball is short. 2 outs. Didi's having a good year, but there's so many outstanding shortstops in the American League. He just might be blocked for a long time unless he has like a season for the ages. Correa, Lindor, Bogarts, just to name a few. Here are the leading vote getters in the American League. So at shortstop it is Carlos Correa, but the guy with the most votes, the right fielder Aaron Judge. And overall, Bryce Harper has the most votes, so Judge is second in all Major League voting. Two and two. Let's take a look at the National League vote leaders. So Harper with the 3.6 million. Right side, that's all Nationals. Chris Bryant holding on at 3rd. Buster Posey behind the plate. Ozuna and Blackman. It all happens July 11th in Miami, and you'll see it on Fox. Fly ball right field. Judge is there, and he'll put it away. As the White Sox go down in order, 1, 2, 3, and we go to the 7th inning. 1-0 Sox. The New York Yankees may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees. That looks good. Nice Tuesday evening here in Chicago. On the Cadillac scoreboard, it's 1-0 White Sox. It'll be Gregorius, Austin, and Torreyes. Got a fastball by him. 91st pitch for Quintana.
Get some action in the Chicago White Sox bullpen. Swarzak and Jennings.
Oh, and 2 Yankees have just 2 hits. The infield single to third base by Gregorius, and the legitimate booming double into left center by Aaron Judge in the 6th.
I think the way this is going, Joe Girardi wouldn't mind seeing a White Sox reliever in this game. Quintana has been on top of his game.
Might be a fence there, but eyes open all the time. The 0-2. With the score 1-0, it's interesting to note that this ballpark has been open since 1991, and the Yankees have never lost a 1-0 game in this ballpark. Swing and a miss. Gregorius down on strikes.
Well, Jose Quintana has been on top of his game, and obviously a very valuable piece at the trade deadline. Take a look at his strikeouts, a good slider. I've been impressed with the way he's elevated his fastball against some of these Yankee hitters. He's pounded the ball inside. He's thrown his breaking ball. Left on left, he has a valuable weapon with that big-time breaking ball there.
Austin takes upstairs. Austin had a chance, second and third, 2 men out in the 4th inning, but looked at a pitch right down the middle. Called third strike to end the inning. So he struck out twice against Quintana.
Little reaction right there from Quintana. Joe West giving him a little stare. Thought he threw a good breaking ball for a strike. We'll take a look. Just off.
I mean, you really got to know your place, though. Joe West is a guy, it's not going to help you. Three and one. And he walks Austin. Well, your scouting report was right on, John. He's putting up good numbers, but he's also walking people more than he should. And that brings Rick Renteria out of the dugout, and the Yankees breathe a sigh of relief as the White Sox manager signals to the bullpen. Going for the right-hander with Torreyes coming up.
right there, so obviously Quintana had something funny to say to him, but there are nights when you work with Joe West and he's not in a very good mood from the first pitch of the ball game to the last.
Been a pretty good pitching matchup. Quintana last 6 1/3, the runner at first, who is now Brett Gardner pinch running for Tyler Austin. His responsibility, 6 strikeouts but the 4 walks, and he had 10 3-ball counts. And Luis Severino, 6 hits, 1 run, and he had 9 strikeouts. So here's the numbers on Swarzak, former Yankee. As I mentioned, Gardner pinch running for Tyler Austin at first.
Swarzak having a good year. Just to get Quintana out there, maybe the Yankees get something going.
Grounded to second. Let's see if they get 2. There's 1. There's 2. A 4-6-3 double play. Turned with 2 very fast runners involved. So Swarzak does the job. There's 1. And there's 2 as we'll go to the bottom of the 7th. On dealer, it's not too hard to recap. 1-6-0 for the White Sox, 0-2-0 for the Yanks. Severino's still in there. Quintana went 1 out into the 7th. Abreu with the RBI double, that's the only run. And Aaron Judge has walked and doubled for the Yankees. Another good performance by Severino. Caddy scoreboard, 1-0. White Sox over the Yanks. Swing and a miss. He's got these 9 strikeouts, John, doesn't have a walk.
He's been outstanding, and Larry Rothschild again getting back to it before the game said he didn't want him to change a thing. He felt really good about his stuff. Fastball command maybe could get a little bit better, but the 9 strikeouts, no walks. And Jack just talked about it. The 1 RBI base hit, a cue shot on a changeup.
Domingo Germán up for the Yanks.
Really is incredible. Severino in the first inning throwing about 95, 96. Now it's the 7th. He's pumping it up to 98.
3-2 on Davidson, who struck out twice against Severino. He had 10 strikeouts in his other start against the White Sox this year. And now he has 10 strikeouts tonight.
There's a lot to like if you're Joe Girardi, watching your young right-hander strike out 10 White Sox batters. Here's my best fastball up in the zone. Throws it right by Davidson.
There's Tim Anderson. 0-1, an announced crowd of 18,023. We're at Guaranteed Rate Field. Two. Well, what a difference a year makes. He couldn't get a win last year as a starter. Dominated when he came back as a reliever. But dominating here as he strikes out his 11th batter.
3 strikeouts for Tim Anderson tonight, and 3 swings where he had no chance on that slider.
11 strikeouts, that ties his career high. Well, no strikeouts against Kevin Smith. Smith 2 for 2, and he scored the only run in the game. Heard little soft signals to right field off the bat of Smith. Count 0-1. 0-2. Hey, he knows anybody gets on, he's probably out of the game. They don't want to push his pitch count that high. So he is just rearing back and throwing strikes. This will be his 105th pitch. And the 0-2. Strike 3, it's a career high 12 strikeout game for Luis Severino as he impressively strikes out the side here in the 7th. We go to the 8th, 1-0 White Sox. Down with the White Sox. Coverage starts at 7 with Audi batting practice today in the Chevy Yankees pregame. Then we're back for the call right here on Yes and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Still 2 more innings to go. Luis Severino with a career high 12 strikeouts. His night's over. Now the Yankees have to score a run for him or 2 to give him a possible win. But right now he's on the short end of a 1-0 score. And the White Sox go to the bullpen again. Tommy Kahnle, his 32nd game. He pitched 1 inning against the Yankees in New York in April and struck out the side. What a performance by that kid.
It has to feel good. His last 2 outings been giving up a lot of earned runs. Not tonight. Career high 12 strikeouts. I'm sure you're sitting there watching in the dugout thinking about the one big hit you gave up on our Hyundai scoreboard, 1-0 White Sox.
Romine will lead off against Kahnle. And a strike. White Sox closer is David Robertson. Yankees are very familiar with his body of work. Part of the 2009 championship team. The 0-1. Popped up right side. Sanchez back and makes the play in short right for the first out. And this will be the major league debut for Tyler Wade.
You see the numbers in AAA, they were impressive. The .313 batting average.
That's his dad in the middle with the phone up. He's got a lot of family in from California, and here's his major league debut. So pinch hitting for Refsnyder against Kahnle. 22 years old, from Murrieta, California, 6'1", 180 pounds. The Yankees took him in the 4th round in 2013. 71 games at AAA, a .313 hitter. He was on a Little League road trip to the East Coast, and his dad took him to Yankee Stadium. And they're watching the game, and Derek Jeter made one of those jump throws that he made in the hole. And he said to his father, "That's what I want to do."
Be Derek Jeter?
I guess be a Yankee or be a major league ball player who did that. Two and one. You've had a first major league at bat. Is the heart pounding?
Oh, it's pounding, and you know, there are people give you some advice. I remember Gary Allenson, my third base coach, said swing as hard as you can at the first pitch and that'll relax you a little bit. Wade seems like he's under control though.
2-2. Last 26 games at Scranton Wilkes-Barre, hit .365. So he has been hot. And the 2-2. 3-2. Now the White Sox have to be careful. You walk Wade and he can steal a base. 24 stolen bases at AAA.
It's one thing when you talk to people about Wade's game, they love the way he runs the bases and his speed.
3-2. Stays alive. Every single player in the ballpark can appreciate what this kid is going through right now. They've all had that first at bat. They know how it feels. I guess the longer the at bat, the more normal it feels. Lefty swinger against the righty, Kahnle. 3-2. He walked him. So a walk in his first big league at bat, pinch hitting for Rob Refsnyder. And now we'll see if he's off to the races.
I'm sure Tony Peña's talking to him right now. He's probably not even hearing anything that he has to say. So pumped up, excited.
I told you about his 24 stolen bases, and that currently leads the International League. So 1 on, 1 out. Ellsbury's at the plate. Wade's at first. Bounced up there. Smith lost it for a moment, but recovered.
That's a 97-mile-an-hour fastball that Smith was able to somehow keep in front. This just changes the game when you have Tyler Wade on first base. Obviously, everybody knows about his speed. You get all the scouting reports.
Ellsbury's 0 for 3 tonight. Wade was Girardi's last move, if we assume that Holiday is not available. He has already pinch run Gardner, and now he pinch hit Tyler Wade. Slow tapper, going to be a tough play, and it is not made by Frazier. Infield single for Ellsbury. Wade moves to second.
We'll take another look at it off the end of the bat. Canely slips. He's not going to be able to come up with it. And Frazier tries to go with the bare hand. He can't come up with it clean. Wade advancing to second base. An infield hit for Ellsbury. Yankees have something going here in the 8th.
So here's Headley. He's 0 for 3 tonight, but he has been hot. The Yankees certainly have speed on the bases. Wade leads off second, Ellsbury off first. And a strike to Headley. On deck is Aaron Judge. Quickly ahead in the count, 0-2. First and second, one man out, top of the 8th. The Yankees have not been shut out all year, but they're being shut out right here, 1-0 by the White Sox. The Yankees have 3 hits tonight, 2 infield hits. Canely was taking too much time, paying too much attention to Wade, and Headley called time. Wade leads off second, Ellsbury off first. And the 0-2. 1-2. The anatomy of a rally. Tyler Wade, first big league at bat, draws a walk. Ellsbury squibber to the third base side of the mound, gets an infield single. First and second, one man out. Here's Headley with a 1-2 count. And he swings and misses for the second out, and that will bring up Judge.
Well, that's what Canely does. He's a big-time strikeout pitcher with the fastball at about 97 and a nice changeup down and away.
Well, Don Cooper will go to the mound, and they'll talk about the ways to approach Judge. What's been said, what's been tried, that hasn't been said and tried already.
Well, you look at Canely's numbers, and they're much better against right-handed hitters, a 136 batting average against righties. I'm sure part of that conversation, Aaron Judge hunting a first pitch fastball in his last time, ripped a double to left center field.
Now, if you're careful with Judge, you got to face Gary Sanchez on deck. So Sanchez does provide him some cover. But you can make the argument you'd rather pitch to Sanchez than you would Judge. So Judge's walk, fly ball to right, and a double to left center. Tying run is at second. Go-ahead runs at first. 2 men out in the 8th. 1-0. Grounded up the middle, it is a base hit. Wade rounds third. He's coming home. He'll score. It's an RBI single for Judge, and the Yankees have tied the game at 1.
Aaron Judge continuing to just do what he's done all year long, and that's drive in big runs for the New York Yankees. Wade scores easily. 60 RBIs now for Aaron Judge. We're all tied up. Wade off at the crack of the bat.
Well, Dad's got that on his phone. What an emotional moment for the family. What a great moment for Tyler Wade. Welcome to the big leagues. He just tied the game. Here's Gary Sanchez with a chance to put the Yankees up. John mentioned 60 ribbies for Aaron Judge. A strike. Fly ball into right center field. It's a base hit. And it'll go to the wall. Ellsbury scores. Here comes Judge. He'll score. It's a big 2-run double for Gary Sanchez. And the Yankees lead 3-1.
How about this 3-4 combination for the New York Yankees? Aaron Judge, the big base hit to tie the game. And Gary Sanchez, not trying to do too much, stays out over the plate and just hammers this ball to right center. Showing a little bit of emotion. And Aaron Judge, who really runs the bases well, scores easily from first base. Huge hit for Gary Sanchez.
Sanchez with his 38th and 39th runs batted in. And for Sanchez, his 27th run batted in this month. And that's in just 21 games. The Mariners' Mike Zunino has the most with 30. Still more June, though. It's just June 27th. Another slow roller third base side. Canely can't make a play and takes a seat. Moving to third is Sanchez. Infield single for Didi, his second of the night.
Didi 2 for 4, a couple of infield singles. You see Canely comes off the mound again, slips. The Yankees extending this 8th inning. Another look on Yesmo, brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers.
Herman still throwing. Would they use him in the 8th with a 3-1 lead? Now, one thing that this lead has done is it's rewarded Luis Severino for an outstanding 7 innings. So if the bullpen, however it's used, can hold the lead, Severino gets a much-deserved win. So here's Rick Renteria, and with Brett Gardner due up, he's going to call on the left-hander Jennings. So Canely gives up the lead. It'll be Jennings against Gardner. Runners on first and third. 3 runs already in. Yankees up by 2. The Rail Riders on a rare off day. Catch this all-new episode. Tyler Wade's in the episode tomorrow night following Yankees coverage right here on Yes. I got to tell you, John, Tyler Wade looks like he's the bat boy. He looks so young. Wow.
22 years old. A lot of smiles for him in that Yankee dugout. He got this rally going here in the 8th inning, working a walk.
This dugout not smiling as Canely takes it out on the bench. The lone lefty in the White Sox bullpen is called in, and that's Dan Jennings to face Brett Gardner, who pinch ran for Tyler Austin in the 7th. So this is Gardner's first at bat. First and third, 2 outs. 3-1 Yanks. Pitch outside, 1-0. A strike. One and two. And the pitch. Lined right at the shortstop. Anderson to end the inning, but the Yankees take the lead with 3 runs. The anatomy of a rally, a walk, an infield single. Then Aaron Judge delivers a game-tying RBI single, and then another baby bomber with a 2-run double. Yankees lead 3-1. Urgent care. By People's United Bank NA, keep business at hand with mobile cash management. And by your Tri-Honda dealers, hurry to your local Tri-Honda dealer for great deals on the 2017 models. Well, Tyler Wade takes over in left field. He started the rally pinch hitting for Rob Refsnyder. He drew a walk in his first big league at bat. And now they turn it over to Domingo Germán to hold the 3-1 lead in the 8th inning. This will be his 4th game, 10 strikeouts in 8 2/3 innings. Pinch hitter is Alan Hansen for Adam Engel. Now you might say, why not Betances? Fair question.
That's what I'm going to say.
Well, he's pitched 2 days in a row, and Joe has always tried to avoid using a pitcher 3 days in a row.
So Chapman has pitched 2 days in a row as well.
Yeah. And I know he's really trying to stay away from that. Maybe he's saving Betances for the 9th. Hyundai scoreboard 3-1. Yankees over the White Sox. Tyler Clippard. If you look at the makeup of the Yankee bullpen, John, you've got Webb, kid, Chad Green, kid, Domingo Germán, kid, Ronald Herrera, kid. A lot of kids out there.
What do they say? The biggest thing for a young reliever is earning the trust of a manager that you're going to throw the ball over the plate. You come out of that bullpen.
Here's how it breaks down. Now, just because they're out there doesn't mean they're available tonight. You would think that Chad Green was available.
Yep.
He pitched Sunday, didn't pitch yesterday. 3-2 on Alan Hansen.
If you're Germán, you have that good riding fastball, sinking fastball at about 96. 2-run lead here, full count. You can go right at Hansen. Take your chances trying to get a ground ball. Just make sure you pound the strike zone.
And he walked him. So the pinch hitter walks. And now to the top of the White Sox order. Here's Yolmer Sanchez. 2 for 3, lined out to Romine in the 5th, the only time he was retired. Hansen has speed. Way high.
What you worry about if you're a pitching coach, Larry Rothschild or Joe Girardi, putting a young kid in a high leverage situation.
And Larry Rothschild is going to go and try to calm him down. It's funny how little things, John, can come back and haunt you. If you remember last night, Ref Snyder could not turn the double play.
Yep.
That forced them to bring in, I don't know if it forced them to, but Joe wanted to make sure he brought in Betances. If that double play is turned, then Betances is available right here. So anybody who doesn't think that every single game in baseball is interconnected, past leading to the present, dictating the future, that's what this game's about. It's like a chess match. So one unturned double play that's not scored an error, it's not in any box score. Just had to watch the game and see what that dictated. That dictated that Girardi went to Betances. Betances has been used in 4 of the last 6 games, and Chapman in 3 of the last 4. So 2-0 on Sanchez. Did not come close with the last 2 pitches, so it's 3-0.
We've seen Herman, and you like his arm, you like his changeup, you like his fastball and the movement on it, but you got to believe you can throw the ball over the plate here with a 2-run lead and take your chances.
Sanchez has 3 home runs, and he throws it right past Sanchez for ball 4. So first and second, nobody out for the White Sox, and let's see if Girardi is going to call on Clippard, and he is. So Yankee Universe and Joe Girardi will hold their breath to see if Tyler Clippard has worked out his issues. situation, and he walks Alan Hansen, he walks Yomer Sanchez, and now the Yankees bring in Tyler Clippard, who in the last 6 games has struggled mightily. 3 2/3 innings. He's allowed 10 hits, 11 runs, 3 home runs. And, you know, Joe had said the other day, John, you know, we want to get him in situations, either big leads or big deficits. This is neither. The game is on the line, so it's imperative that Clippard finds that changeup. The changeup has not been there, and when the changeup's not there, you could sit on a 91-mile-an-hour fastball, and he has not been locating that well.
Yeah, and Joe has been talking about the fastball location has been up, but you're trusting a veteran reliever right here in this spot to get things turned around. Obviously not the easiest situation to come into. First and second, nobody out, and 2, 3, and 4. The opposing lineup coming up to the plate.
Melky Cabrera against Clippard. Melky's faced Clippard 3 times. He has 1 hit.
The Yankees are expecting a bunt. Headley in on the grass. Romine playing behind Sanchez at first. Let's see what Melky's thinking.
And that one gets past Sanchez, and now you don't have to bunt. So that's not a good sign. He didn't come close.
Wow, Sanchez setting up away, and this is up and in. I mean, missing by an entire plate. I don't care if you're a young kid or a veteran like Tyler Clippard. When you have been struggling the way he has lately, the confidence takes a shot. You have some bad thoughts going through your head.
Infield is back, except for Headley. A ground ball would make it 3-2. 2-0. Strangely, there's nobody up in the bullpen. I don't know why you wouldn't at least have Shreve warming up.
How about Chad Green?
Yeah.
I mean, Chad Green comes in throwing strikes out of the bullpen. You know that.
Very odd usage right now. First Tremont and then Clippard, and no one up right now. With second and third, nobody out. You're holding a 3-1 lead in the 8th. One pitch away from loading the bases with Abreu coming up. Ball 4. 3 straight walks have the Yankees in a major jam.
Well, Gary Sanchez turning around talking to Joe West, the home plate umpire. But when you miss as badly as Clippard missed the first couple of pitches, you're not going to get the close ones. And you see the Yankee bullpen the last 13 games. Numbers are not pretty.
So Severino pitched the first 7 innings, didn't walk a batter. Now 3 straight walks. This inning, 12 balls and 2 strikes. Yankees play back, hoping for the double play off the bat of Abreu. He is 1 for 3. There's a strike. One other point about Betances. We've said before, Joe doesn't like to use him 3 days in a row. He has pitched 2 days in a row, but he's thrown 25 pitches total. It's not like he was overused in those 2 times, and maybe Joe is saving him to pitch the 9th. We don't know what the 9th is going to look like. They've got to get out of the 8th. The 0-1. 0-2. That's the thing that Clippard is really worried about, is the fastball location. He said there are times when the changeup's not there, and the changeup is his money pitch. But if you don't have the changeup, then you are left with a fastball that's not a 98-mile-an-hour fastball, so it's imperative that you locate it, and he hasn't been able to do it.
And it doesn't have any movement at all. It's straight as a string, and he's been elevating it and getting beat on that pitch quite a bit lately.
Bases loaded. Nobody out. Bottom of the 8th. 3-1 Yanks. And the 0-2. Popped up. Left side. That'll make the seats out of play. And the 0-2. 1-2. Abreu's driven in the only run for the White Sox with his double in the 3rd against Severino. Hits are even at 6 apiece. Chicago threatening. 1-2. Swing and a miss. He got him. A huge strikeout for Clippard. 1 away.
Well, Clippard went with that changeup down and then elevated the fastball after it. And we talked about it not being overpowering. But when you show a changeup down the pitch before, you're able to sneak this one by Abreu. Now you start getting greedy. One pitch here, ground ball, possibility of a double play and getting out of this mess. Huge strikeout for Clippard.
Yankees playing at double play depth. Torreyes shades up the middle, but he's on the right side. Garcia is 0 for 3 tonight. Popped up. Going back is Torreyes. Coming in is Judge. Judge makes the call on the catch for the 2nd out. 2 down. Abreu and Garcia. Combined 100 RBIs between the two of them. They could not get a run in.
Obviously, Aaron Judge coming in takes priority over Torreyes. Good communication there from Aaron Judge.
And here's Todd Frazier, who was 1 for 3. There's a strike. There's so much on the line here. Obviously, this is just a game on June 27th, but if he could get out of this jam, all of a sudden, boom, then you shift the confidence back in, where he feels better about himself. And then you've got a reliever to pitch the 7th inning. And they've been searching for that. He's here in the 8th right now because some people are unavailable because of use. The 0-1. Frazier 1 for 4 against Clippard lifetime with 1 run batted in.
Tyler Clippard is doing it with his fastball. He's just showing his changeup, bouncing it to Abreu with this inning. It's pretty much, here's my fastball coming right at these hitters and getting away with it.
Hansen's at third, Sanchez at second, Cabrera is at first. One. Just missed him. Boy, Clippard showed his disappointment on the mound. Count 2-1. What a difference that call makes.
You see Sanchez setting up away. It ends up in. He tries to bring it back, and Joe West not buying it. Same pitch. Same exact pitch and same reaction from Clippard.
Three and one. Bases loaded. Bottom of the eighth. And the pitch. 3-2.
Oh, what a huge pitch that was right there. I was thinking sometimes you have to throw your fastball down and away and take your chances. Tyler Clippard not thinking the same way I was. Changeup, middle down. Frazier hunting a fastball. Did not get it.
John, that might be the best changeup he's thrown in maybe 10 appearances.
Yeah, you're right. Couldn't have come at a better time. A 3-1 count. Frazier looking for the fastball. Clippard pulls a string.
What do you do now?
Now I'm thinking he's been going to that fastball to get some strikeouts and some pop-ups. That'd be a good time to try to sneak it by him away.
Three-two. Ball four, he walked him. A run comes in, it's 3-2 Yankees, an RBI for Frazier. 4 walks in the inning.
He went with that fastball, he just was not able to locate it, just missed down and away. And it missed.
So Rothschild comes out and talks with Clippard, and still no one up in the Yankee bullpen. Now here's Matt Davidson as Rothschild finishes the long conference with Clippard. Base is still loaded. Tying run 90 feet away. Go-ahead run is at second. Davidson 0 for 3, 3 strikeouts against Severino. And a strike. Sanchez keeps it in front, 1-1. Strange game of baseball, as we mentioned. First 7 innings, not a walk. Now 4 in this inning have forced in a run against 2 Yankee pitchers. Swing and a miss. Somehow, just the threat of the change is making 91 seem faster to the White Sox. So 1-2. Does he bounce a change? Risk getting it past Sanchez. Does he go with the fastball again? Go with the fastball.
You can throw 91 if you elevate out of the zone. That right there wasn't quite high enough from Tyler Clippard. Gary Sanchez wanted it a little more elevated. Joe Girardi wanted a pop-up. He didn't get it.
"30 pitches so far this inning by Herman and now Clippard. One, two. Just got a piece. And another Sanchez trip to the mound.
Good pitch. Davidson fouls it off right off of the glove of Gary Sanchez. And you see the frustration.
One, two. Still 1-2. Pitches piling up for Clippard. 22 so far this inning. Yankees clinging to a lead. It's 3-2 now, Yanks. And the 1-2 popped up, and that'll make it into the seats. Bases loaded, 2 men out. Clippard on the mound. Yankee bullpen empty. No one warming. Bottom of the 8th inning. Clippard trying to get out of this jam, trying to get out of his slump, trying to hold the Yankee lead. And the 1-2. Another foul ball. This will be the 9th pitch coming.
After these fastballs that Davidson's fouling off, I'd have to believe I'd have to go with a changeup down in the dirt and take my chances. See if he'll chase out of the zone.
1-2 pitch. 2-2. Another trip to the mound. I guess they feel there's not much else to go to.
I think they're searching right now. They're almost hoping. It looked like a breaking ball there, not a changeup or a split that we've seen from Tyler Clippard. We'll see what he comes with. 2-2.
Oh, That'll set everybody off. 3-2 count, 2 outs. You can start the merry-go-round. And we'll just sit back and let you watch. Swing and a miss. He got him. A big strikeout for Clippard and for the Yankees and for Clippard again and for Joe Girardi's health. And the Yankees lead 3-2 as we go to the ninth.
Looks like it's a 3-2 changeup, and it's executed perfectly down and in. Davidson right over the top of it. Tyler Clippard pumped up.
Torreyes leads off the ninth. The 8th inning took approximately 57 minutes. So not only does Clippard get out of the jam, but he gets out of the jam with a pitch that has abandoned him. Fielded by Jennings. And he gets Torreyes for the first out. Good stretch by Abreu. So Betances is set to pitch the ninth after having only thrown 25 pitches in the 2 straight games that he's worked total. By the way, Alan Hansen has taken over in center. He had pinch hit for Engel in the 8th.
So Chapman's not available.
Yes. (2-0) on Romine. Tyler Wade is on deck. He started the Yankees' 3-run rally in the 8th with a pinch hit walk. There's a base hit to right field for Romine. His first hit of the night. So Wade, probably a bit more relaxed this time up. He's had a half inning in left field. He scored a run. He's walked. Now lefty against lefty. And your scouting report that you got today is not really neutralized that much by lefties.
No,
John.
he's done a better job this year against lefties than he has in the past. And I'm just thinking about this matchup with his speed. I'm sure the bunt game is probably a big part of his game, the way he runs. But yeah, they said he made some adjustments hanging in there against some lefties this year. When you're hitting .313 down in AAA, obviously you're getting your hits off righties and lefties.
Two and one.
Sometimes you tell a lot about a young hitter the way he takes. Those are some really good takes on those sweeping breaking balls from Jennings. You're seeing the ball well out of his hand.
Well, doesn't get cheated on a swing. 2-2. Dad's using up all of his memory and storage. Two. Still 2-2.
Hanging in there. He's not giving in a bit. Good swing in the fastball, followed up by the slider. Another good swing.
And 2. Looking down at Joe Espada, see if Romine will be going. Romine does not have much of a lead at first. The picture they have of Wade in center field, just he looks like a happy guy, like a guy who just got called up to the big leagues. Three-two. Strike three. Wade down looking. So he saw 7 pitches his first at bat. He sees 8 pitches in this at bat.
Doesn't end up the way he wants it to. Jennings just dots a fastball right on the outside corner, but a good at bat, good swings against the lefty. I don't see any give against a left-handed pitcher.
Here's Jacoby Ellsbury. He had that infield single in the 8th inning. And a strike. Jake Petrichka up for the White Sox. And the count 1-2. All right, so if you want to look ahead to the bottom of the 9th inning, it'll be the bottom third of the order against Betances. Anderson, Smith, and Hansen. Red Sox are leading the Twins 6-1 at Fenway, bottom of the 5th inning. They've had 2 rain delays in that game. Baltimore beat Toronto
Catcher's
3-1, and there's a catcher's interference against Kevin Smith, and I believe that's his 29th lifetime, which ties Pete Rose for the most in big league history.
And we talk about it all the time, just lets the ball get so deep. Tries to fight it off the other way, catches the glove of Kevin Smith.
So that's exciting, John. We see a Pete Rose record tied. I have a feeling he's going to break that, too.
I got a feeling he will.
First and second, 2 outs. Here's Headley. And a strike. Aaron Judge on deck. Yankees looking to give Betances a little more breathing room in the bottom of the ninth. Yankees have 7 hits. White Sox have 6. And that one gets past Smith, and the runners move up.
Take a look. Jennings with that 3/4 arm angle just slings it down and in. Smith can't come up with it clean, then has trouble finding it.
That's a pass ball. Two and two. And the pitch. Is time called? If not, it's a balk. Joe West called time. Swing and a miss. Headley down on strikes. No runs a hit, 1 error, and 2 men left. Last licks coming up for the White Sox. Yankees lead 3-2. Right here on Yes after the final out for the WB Mason postgame, as our studio team has highlights and analysis of this clash with the White Sox. Plus, Meredith will get the reaction from the clubhouse. That's all coming up immediately following the game, only on Yes. So Brett Gardner moves from the DH to left field, replacing Tyler Wade to improve the defense. Dellin Betances will come on and try to close the game, so that means Betances would have to hit in the number 9 hole because the Yankees have relinquished their DH. But the Yankees don't even want to think about that because Betances obviously would not be pitching more than 1 inning, and then you'd be pinch hitting with pitchers because Matt Holliday is likely unavailable. So Betances will pitch for the 3rd straight game, and he'll face Tim Anderson to start it off. Now it's imperative to keep Anderson off the bases because the one thing that Betances struggles with is stopping the running game.
Anderson not a burner, but he does have 5 stolen bases, has not been thrown out yet, and a good curveball to get back in the count.
Chop to third, charging Headley. He fires to first, and they get Anderson for the first out. Big out.
And you just saw Dellin Betances say that a boy to Chase Headley. A nice play coming in, throwing on the run. That's plenty of time to go with the glove, the exchange, and the strong throw.
Here's Kevin Smith. 2 for 3. Couple of singles and a strikeout. Breaking ball outside. 1-0. 3-2. Yankees over Chicago. Bottom of the 9th. Fastball away. 2-0. And he walked him on 4 pitches. So the White Sox have the tying run on. And we're going to have a pinch runner. It'll be Willie Garcia. And we'll see if they try to steal right away on Betances. There's Alan Hansen. Pinch hit in the 8th against Herman and walked. Came on to score on a walk as well. This is where it becomes interesting. Dellin slow to the plate, and Sanchez has not been throwing the way he threw last year, especially accuracy-wise. 1-0. Garcia leads off first, held there by Roman. Two and 0. Kind of a weird and wacky and unpredictable game. Betances gets the first out. Now he's thrown 6 straight balls. Seven straight. And you can see Dellen's not feeling it because he keeps taking these walks on the backside of the mound. Usually he stands right there ready to throw.
Even though Garcia has not run yet, you can tell Dellin paying attention to him a little bit, rushing towards the plate, trying to get it back together.
Right down the middle with a fastball, taking all the way, 3-1. Fouled away, so now 3-2. Hansen this year has 10 hits and 27 at bats. That's 370. He's essentially a bench player. Has good speed. He's hit a home run with 2 runs batted in. Will they send Garcia on the 3-2 pitch? He inches off first. He does not go, and the pitch is low, and Hansen walks. So the tying run in scoring position, the winning run is at first. And this is definitely Betances' game. There's nobody warming in the Yankee bullpen. And from the way that Girardi has used that bullpen, doesn't seem like anybody would be able to go. The Yankee bullpen has faced 10 hitters, and they've walked 6.
And they still have a lead. It's hard to believe.
Yep. Here is Yolmer Sanchez. Time called. Bases are loaded as Sanchez gets drilled. And Rothschild will go out and talk with Betances, who simply has lost the plate.
Well, we've seen this a lot with Dellin, that he goes to his breaking ball, has a lot of confidence he can throw it for a strike at any time. This isn't even close.
Melky Cabrera, always a pesky hitter, always hits well against his former team, and he's going to come up with the bases loaded and 1 out. And really, when Betances does not have the plate, he does throw the breaking ball. So let's see if he starts Melky off with that breaking ball, but he hasn't had command of either pitch.
He's been all over the place, and if you're Melky, what do you do walking up here? I mean, he's hit a batter, he's walked a few. Do you go up there and take a strike? Do you go up there aggressive, hunting the fastball?
He threw him a breaking ball for a strike. Yankees have the infield in. They're just concerned with that runner at third, and that's the smart play. 0-2. Opponents are 3 for 35 with the bases loaded in their career against Betances. 21 strikeouts.
The last 2 pitches, he looks like a different guy. Back-to-back breaking balls, located perfectly.
Fly ball, left field, long run for Gardner. He makes the play, and the runner does not tag, and the throw comes home. 2 away. 1 more out to go.
Well, Brett Gardner went in to play some defense and covers a lot of ground. And the quick throw just to make sure you hold the runner at third.
And it comes down to Betances against Abreu. Abreu with an RBI double in 4 trips. He has 49 ribbies on the season. Big, strong righty batter against the right-handed Betances. Misses outside, 1-0. Abreu has faced Betances 4 times in his career, has 2 hits. The plate again, and remember, there's no place to put Abreu.
I would say he has to go with a fastball, but watching Dellin the last couple of years, he's got so much confidence in that breaking ball to throw it for a strike.
And he throws a breaking ball for a strike. Do you go to it again? Tying run at third, winning run at second. Bases loaded, 2 outs, bottom of the ninth, 3-2 Yanks. The 2-1. There's a base hit to left field. 1 run scores. Here comes the second run. He'll score. And the White Sox win 4-3. Well, John, that one hurts. You waste a great performance by Severino, and it ends with this.
And he went with the breaking ball again. It was elevated, and Abreu is 2 for 4 coming into that at bat, now 3 for 5 with a crushing base hit. As 2 runs are going to score, the White Sox steal one at the end of this game. And you're right, Luis Severino and his dominant performance is wasted. They almost had the feeling like that was going to happen, the way the bullpen really struggling, all the walks.
Well, in this Yankee slump right now, John, one of the big culprits is the bullpen. They're just not doing it, and they didn't do it today. And for reasons unbeknownst to us coming into the game, the bullpen was extremely limited in who they could use. No Chapman, no Green, and the guys that they used simply did not get it done. So the Yankees lose the second game of the series. The series now tied at a game apiece. Abreu gets mobbed by his teammates, and the Yankees have to think things over.